So good morning, everybody. My name is Hogyang Shan. I'm from Center for Technology, Water and Wastewater and the School of Civil and Environment Engineering. I'm the director of the AIC Research House for Lithuanian Innate Circular Economy. We've invited you all here today to officially launch the hub. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Ural Nation, whose ancestral land our city campus now stands. We would like to pay respect to the elders, both past, present, acknowledging them as the traditional custodians and knowledge for the land. Just a short housekeeping note. So just in case if we have a fire alarm, so you have a fire exit, so you can go to this balcony and then just turn left, or you can go back to the entrance and turn right. So there are 2 fire exits, so you can move there, but follow the instructions of the warden. So when it's time for the lunch is ready for the foyer, the nice view as well as the nice lunch. So you can enjoy the today lunch after this long. And if you're staying for the summit, so please come back at the 1:30. And we have a little bit of a change of the program today. So one speaker, Dr. David Bergman from the Southeast Water, he had the COVID-19, so that he withdrew his participation. But Dr. Lee Gao will present on behalf of him. And we have also a lot of volunteers. You can see the black, nice t-shirts at the back. So if you have any questions during this event, so please ask me or ask our volunteers. They will help you. So we are joined today by the Honorable Anthony Chisholm, Assistant Minister for Education and Assistant Minister of Regional Development, was Dr. Mary Kelly, Executive Director in the Australian Research Council. And we have Professor Kate McGrath, Deputy Vice Chancellor in Research at UTS. And we have also a lot of the chief investigators, industry partners, also PhD students, postdoctoral research fellows, and university staff. So I welcome you all and thank you for joining us here today. The launch of the AIC Hub is an important event. So we are proud of the hub, which is built on strong working collaborations for many years between universities, industry partners, and stakeholders, both nationally and internationally. So we live in linear economy today. So we just take and make, use, and dispose. So this is not sustainable. So we want to make a circular economic system. So let us think about the nutrient balance. So we produce the nitrogen from the Haber-Bosch process, which is very energy intensive. And we produce the phosphorus from the phosphorus rock, which is the very limited reserve. So we have to make sure that the circular economy for this nutrient system. So this is the reason why the AIC Hub, we want to tackle this problem. And we have 4 research teams. So how we can collect effectively nutrient, urine or wastewater, and how to process to transform this urine or wastewater to fertilizer. And how we can try to optimize this fertilizer, and we can try to make an application to better understand the circular economy system in terms of cost economics and social science. As such, this hub is the required multidisciplinary skills and knowledge to achieve these overarching aims. The world market of fertilizer is around $450 billion. In Australia, we mainly import this fertilizer, 2 million tons annually. So we try to make sure that how we can recycle this nutrient fertilizer. So 50% of that we just discharge to the groundwater and ocean. Also agricultural waste. 25% of them is exported to the overseas, and 25% of them is utilized locally in our food production. So we want to take around 10% of this fertilizer demand. So we would save a lot of imported fertilizer to Australia. This affects the cleaner environment, climate change, also wastewater treatment, food production, and economy of everyone through the world. So this significantly contributes to the 5 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The SDG 2, Zero Hunger, SDG 6, Clean Water Sanitation, SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production, SDG 13, the Climate Action, SDG 14, Life Below Water. So we are very proud of the NiCE Hub collaboration that brings together a team that will tackle the nutrient balance, which is a global challenge. But this hub would not have been able to be established without the support from our 7 universities, 22 industry partners, and 3 international organizations, and the AIC. So now it's time to have our official speech. I'd like to invite Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Kay McGrath, to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Sean. Hello, everybody. I add my acknowledgement to Sean's formal acknowledgement of country. I'm very happy to be meeting you and acknowledging the Gadigal country, people of the Eora Nation. So as Sean said, I'm Kate McGrath. I'm here on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Andrew Parfitt, who we did a little bit of a tag team, and he was just leaving as I was coming in. So he would have liked to been able to stay and do the official launch, but he was unable to. So he extends his support to you as well as I'm now representing the university formally. So it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this official launch of the ARC NiCE Research Hub. UTS has a very proud tradition, and Sean in his speech has already articulated our commitment to sustainability and to the Sustainable Development Goals. And we have a number of people that are doing research in these areas, delivering environmental science, climate change, green energy and clean water solutions, both locally and internationally. As you know, our vision is to truly be a public university that delivers global impact. So this is an incredibly amazing example of this vision of ours actually in action. We have teams of researchers across the entire university, and in particular within the disciplines, within science, engineering, IT, and our Institute of Sustainable Futures who are delivering explicitly to this. They are dedicated in investigating processes and technologies to improve the way we manage one of life's critical resources, which is of course water, something that everybody has to have access to, and all of the country, the world needs to have that's clean to allow everything to thrive. Our water and wastewater research is consistently recognised as world leading. And as we focus on the development of innovative technologies in the field of alternative resources. Today's hub launch and the innovative filtration technology that underpins this collaboration is truly an exemplar of all of this. Personally, I first heard about this research that was being undertaken, in fact, under Sean's specific leadership, when one of our then PhD students, Frederico Volpan, won the 2018 3-minute thesis competition. It was the first time that I'd heard about it, and it was in this 3-minute pitch. So he won the award for UTS, and then he went on to represent UTS at the Asia Pacific competition. I did at that congratulations speech for Frederico when he won, as I am now going to do for all of you, and I think just done the minister. Drink plenty of water, and then make sure you go to the bathroom while you're here, and know that each of you then will individually be contributing to our research. And I'm sure that someone in this room has contributed to the little samples of fertilizer that you each have in your little bags. So you think about that when you take it home and you play with your plant, because it's a very important contribution to why we are all here today. So thank you for your contributions so far, and we appreciate the continuance of those gifts. So the work, back on to the serious notes. The work has the potential to solve global fertilizer scarcity, as Sean's already articulated. It is a very real challenge in today's society, and we are faced with rising human rates and increasing demand for synthetic fertilizer production globally. So for the first time in Australia, this collaboration will take an holistic approach to tackling these challenges, as Sean has already articulated, and truly working to work from the perspective of a circular economy consideration. The idea of recovering nutrients from urine and other unconventional sources to commercialise more than a wee bit exciting. That's really funny because of course everybody gives me shit because I've got a New Zealand accent and we say we all the time. But all jokes aside, those of you that have heard me talk who are from UTS, I talk about connected research all the time, right? And when we picked that particular phraseology, we chose it because that term connected can mean so many different things. It's not just about working together. It's not just about us being a public university and positioning it. It's also about connecting the dots of a lot of different research and a lot of different problems to truly come to an holistic consideration of what it is that we can do. And that's what a circular economy is all about. And that's what we are all about here at UTS, is working from a framework of connected research so that we can truly think about life cycles, economic cycles, etc., to deliver more impactful solutions to society as part of us being a public university. When you do it correctly and strategically, it enables us to align our efforts to achieve more than we could by ourselves and to accelerate and magnify what we do for the betterment of society. The pioneering work of the UTS-led NiCE Research Hub and the leadership of Sean, I acknowledge, but I really acknowledge also the 7 university partners that we have and the over 20 industry and international partners. Many of you are here in this room, and I personally thank you for us coming together in this connected way to really tackle some major global issues for us. This team are combining their expertise and their unique experiences, are working together to create beneficial solutions enabling us. Tackling a waste issue at, dare I say, at the source, remembering that you are all the source, and creating through that a solution for another huge global problem, scarcity of fertilizer, is beyond what we used to talk about of being clever. It is what we must do to use our resources well, and this team is absolutely exemplifying this approach, an approach that we need to increasingly take to solve these big problems. Think about the source, what you're trying to do, and what opportunities that provides us in terms of creating solutions for other problems as well. Before I introduce today's guest speakers, I acknowledge our keynote speaker today, Senator the Honourable Anthony Chisholm. So Senator Chisholm is the Assistant Minister for Education and the Assistant Minister for Regional Development. In addition, I thank the following guest speakers for their ongoing support of the ARC NiCE Research Hub. So Dr. Mary Kelly, who's the Executive Director of the Australian Research Council. I'm not sure where everybody's sitting, sorry. So yeah, there's a view. I know where Mary's sitting, so I can point her out to you. Ms. Lisa McLean, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Circular Australia. Mr. Gary Leeson, who is the Business and Innovation Manager of the Organic Crop Protectants Deluxe Group. Dr. David Bergman, who is the Research Development Manager for Southeast Water, and Mr. Jeff Sewell, who is the Jeff Sewell, sorry, who's the Managing Director at EIC Activities and member of the CIMIC Group. I really know, I don't even have to wish that they will actually deliver, because I really know that this team will create the results that they are seeking to do, and that will create a massive change in terms of how we deal with wastewater, how we think about waste in the future, and how we are going to create a solution for the limitations that we have around, as Sean has already said, nitrogen and particularly phosphorus, and make that a stronger proposition for both Australia but also globally. So thank you to everybody's work to date and all the work that will happen over the time of the hub. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kate McCraw, for the motivating and the inspiring talk. The next speaker, I'd like to invite Dr. Mary Kelly, the Executive Director for ARC. Please.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here representing our Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Judy Zulfi, and our Deputy CEO, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Richard Johnson. They both send their regards, and I do, of course, join Sean and Kate in acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation here on the lands, and the traditional owners of the lands for all of the organisations that are represented here today. Pay our respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I can't believe, Kate, you already went there with some of the jokes, and everyone wanted to, but you ran away with it, so that's perfect. It'll be you on Twitter, not me, so that should work out perfectly fine. Look, it's absolutely fantastic to be here. It's been quite a week, because earlier in the week I was at RMIT to launch their Trends Hub, which is from the Industrial Transformation Research Programme. And there's a little bit of overlap with some of the researchers as well, as far as I've been able to discover. And then, of course, launching NiCE with Sean and the team today. It's a pleasure, and thank you, Senator Chisholm, for being here and acknowledging not just the university research that is involved, with a significant number of non-university partners at several different levels of industry scale, several different levels of government. And that is really what has made this a competitive application, and will certainly make this a successful research hub. Like Kate, I don't think we have any doubt. You've already started to prove that, but we know that that is going to continue. The Industrial Transformation Research Programme is extremely competitive. It really, really is. And it takes a lot to stand out among such a strong group. So the potential that's here at every level of academic achievement, at every level of researcher training, I think is something that we should acknowledge. Sean, you yourself, as well as being Hub Director, you're a member of the ARC College of Experts, so you continue to contribute back into the peer review process and the strength of university research. But I would also like to acknowledge Lisa and Gary and Lee, who will speak to us, I think, in a moment, but also our distinguished guests and people in the room. I think we also should pause a moment and recognise the research students that will be involved under your guidance, particularly important for the next generation. But I do also want to acknowledge all of the professional staff that make a research hub like this work. You are often many of the invisible players in the background, but we do want to acknowledge that there are a lot of non-research staff involved in a hub like this and across UTS and the other universities to make it happen. Like all of the major investments under the Industrial Transformation Research Programme, this is a real world problem. I don't have to explain how real again, Kate, you've covered that one for me, so I can stay out of trouble on that one. But I did go back and have a look at the assessments when this application was submitted. I've had a look at a number of the objectives that you've outlined. There's no doubt the commitment that is here from the universities and from the industry partners is actually truly inspiring. And one of the things I look forward to doing, as well as deciding whether or not I put the plant on my kitchen table or maybe just on a window ledge, and when I think about why I have the plant, I really want to see that change in the PhD training. I really want us to see how that next generation of researchers, that we will continue to celebrate these collaborations, but they won't be as unusual as they still feel to us at the moment. That it will be part of their training, that will be part of their research future, to have that open dialogue. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here, preparing to be here. I've thoroughly enjoyed educating myself on what this centre will do. But it is now my great pleasure to introduce the Honourable Senator Anthony Chisholm and ask you to speak to the room. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dr. Kelly, and it's wonderful to meet you today and have a bit of a chat about some of the work that you're doing. And I wanted to note the fantastic work of the Australian Research Council that continue to do in the research system that benefits the Australian community. I also wanted to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we gather and acknowledge the traditional custodians and pay my respects to elders past, present. Thanks to the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Kate McGrath, for being here. It's wonderful to meet you and be on your fine establishment here as well. Thanks to Professor Sean for your warm welcome and to be here. And I look forward to hearing from Lisa McLean, Gary Leeson and Dr. Lee a bit later as well. Thanks to UTS for hosting us today and for the role they are playing in having this centre located on your campus. November has been an exciting month for research in Australia, and I'd also say universities as well. 9 ARC Centres of Excellence from 2020 and several industrial transformation research program and training hubs from 2020 to 2021 are officially opening after understandable delays caused by COVID-19. And at the beginning of the month, Minister Ed for Education, Jason Cloud, approved 11 new Centres of Excellence to commence next year as well. These centres cover broad fields of research, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander management of country, quantum biotechnology, eliminating violence against women, and plans for space. The government's funding of $385 million for these 11 centres, together with the significant contributions from universities, collaborators, and partner organisations, totals more than $1 billion. That's a substantial investment that will pay dividends for Australians and undoubtedly add to the prestige that ARC Centres of Excellence have already earned across the country. The government's investment in research through the ARC includes grants for major research hubs such as this one, funded through the Industrial Transformation Research Program. Research hubs support collaborative research which focus on strategic outcomes that would not otherwise be achieved. The program brings together Australia's best researchers with critical industry partners, and through this partnership, research hubs build national capabilities to address the challenges faced by new industrial economies and develop a future workforce that can participate seamlessly across industry and universities. I just wanted to mention quickly the ARC review that is underway at the moment. The government values the role of higher education research and how the ARC can play a significant part of that. As Minister Clare has announced, a review into the ARC, headed by Professor Shield, the Vice-Chancellor of the Queensland University of Technology. The broad review will look at the role of the ARC, how it operates now, and how it will work best into the future to ensure our research sector can continue to deliver for Australia and globally. This review will report at the end of March next year, and we're looking forward to the outcome of that. In terms of the NiCE Research Hub, I'm here today to officially launch the ARC Research Hub for nutrients in a circular economy. The ARC awarded $2 million to the University of Technology Sydney for this under the Industrial Transformation Research Program. NiCE is doing critical work to transform the wastewater industry with a trailblazing city-scale circular economy of nutrients. The mission is to ensure that the recovery of valuable nutrients from waste using innovative technologies. As Professor Kelly had talked about, politicians should never mention some of these words. And in a previous life, I was responsible for running the campaigns for the Queensland Labor Party about 10 years ago. And during that period, there was a significant drought in southeast Queensland. And one of the proposals that was put forward was for citizens to drink recycled water. And at the time, I was responsible for doing some research into what the people of Brisbane would accept. And I can tell you that it made for some scary reading at the time. So I think it shows you how far we've come as a society that I'm happy to be here today. I'm happy to talk about the research work that is being undertaken. And I think the people who deserve the most credit for that are the scientists who've done such fantastic work educating the community, but also the work that others have done to ensure that that circular economy is something that so many Australians now understand. So I think it's absolutely fantastic that governments can, without any second thought, can put money into these research projects, one, because they work, but two, because broadly the Australian people know how important they are to the future at the same time. So it's fantastic to be here. Working with 7 partner universities and over 20 industry partners, NiCE is in the process of transforming the wastewater industry by commercialising urine processing technologies and demonstrating uses of the liquid fertiliser substitutes. And I just wanted to make a special mention of those 20 industry partners. I understand that putting money into research projects is a significant investment. It's something that we as a government value, and I know that the universities do at the same time. So I wanted to thank all those industry partners for playing their role in this important project. NiCE has already successfully developed 2 technologies to convert human urine to safe, nutrient-rich compound fertilisers, UVAL and UGOLD. What does this mean for Australians? Well, the hub's outcomes will directly benefit Australia's water utilities, agriculture and manufacturing sectors. Just in terms of cost, urine recycling can save up to 50% of sewage treatment operating costs and avoid costly capital upgrades. Putting my other hat on as the Assistant Minister for Regional Development, every regional or rural council I meet with, all of them have looming significant costs when it comes to water treatment plants in their communities. So the practical elements of this and being able to save that money, a lot of those councils have low rate bases and just don't have the capital money to actually invest in their water treatment plants. Breakthroughs that help those councils save money are significant because it enables them to invest other money in other community infrastructure that is also vital in so many of those communities. The investment can help grow food for over 1 million people in Australia and enhance Australia's food security by reducing our dependence on imported fertilisers. We also leap ahead in urban resilience, and the environment benefits from less pollutants charged into the waterways. This is the kind of result that is inspiring to a government committed to investing in research and also a government that recognises the potential of the circular economy. I congratulate Professor Sean for establishing the Research Hub and commencing its impressive research program. It's no small feat to get a hub collaboration come together and launch. It's my pleasure to officially launch the ARC Research Hub for nucleus in a circular economy. I wish you continued success for your important work. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony Tidham. It's a fantastic speech from our distinguished guest, Professor Kate McGrath, Dr. Mary Kelly, and Senator the Honorable Anthony Tidham. Thank you for your time today and sharing your knowledge and experience for us. So we have 4 guest speakers from industry partners, and then we have also special guest from the Circular Australia. Lisa McLean, she will give us an overview of the circular economy. Please join me welcoming the speech.
Thanks so much, Sean, and Minister, Deputy Vice Chancellor and dignitaries, thank you for having me here today. I'd also like to recognise the traditional custodians on the land on which we gather, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging and Indigenous people here today. I'd also like to recognise the special role that our First Nations people have played in terms of being the architects and driving circular economy for millennia in Australia. I've got a lot to learn from them and I look forward to their voice in Parliament. So with 10 billion people on the planet by 2050, we simply can't continue to consume the way we are. And we've been just seeing that already this morning. The taking, making, wasting approach is really not going to work. We're running out of finite resources. There's now more gold and silver in a tonne of iPhones than a tonne of ore from a gold or silver mine. So if you're in the business of extracting gold or silver, or you need it for your production line, you can see that into the future, there's some serious changes that you as a business and other businesses are going to need to take to participate and continue to participate in a global economy. We don't also just have one crisis with carbon emissions. We actually have a few. And it's great. We've got a new government here and it's fantastic to see a senator talking about that ambition. We've finally got action now and an agenda on climate change, which is fantastic around carbon emissions. But we also have a huge crisis around biodiversity loss and, of course, the depletion of natural resources. And that is about our consumption model. So rethinking how we get what we need in a way that does not always mean owning it or throwing it away, using it for a short time, is really going to be the centrepiece of the new economy. Making critical changes to keep resources in the economy for as long as possible at their highest value is where a lot of that untapped economic opportunity lies. And of course, the ARC NiCE hub is really critical, has a really critical role to play in helping businesses and communities and individuals make this transition to a circular economy by getting those nutrients back into use at their highest value. So it's incredibly important work that we're all here today to support. The circular economy has really emerged as a global framework to enable the world to tackle these multiple crises. The definition that we use at Circular Australia is the circular economy decouples economic growth from the consumption of finite resources, designing waste and pollution out of the system, and it's based on 3 principles: design out waste and pollution at every stage of production, in use and end of life, to keep materials in the economy at their highest use for as long as possible, at their highest value rather, for as long as possible, and regenerate natural systems, for example, through water recycling, removing toxic components from our environment, tree planting, organic recycling and so forth. And Circular Australia also supports an Australian circular economy that matches environmental goals with social ambitions. So in a resource and carbon constrained future, there simply won't be economic progress without us making these changes to keep resources in the economy for as long as possible. And it's actually really gritty work. We are going to have to rethink things like this fantastic project has today about what our resources are and where we get them from. So through design, ensuring things are made to be recycled and can be broken down at end of use, enabling our resources once extracted to keep going round and round like they are in this project, not landfilling them, not flushing them away, but getting value from them and designing them to stay in the economy as long as possible. So this in turn does create jobs, as we've heard from the Minister, and it also creates enormous revenue opportunities for businesses that are prepared to take this approach and be the leaders in their field. We're seeing many of you sitting here today that are backing this project. And at Circular Australia, we support the 9 R's, and it could even be 10 with regulation. And it starts with refusing things that come into our economy. So how do we design out the PFAS, the other toxins and components that can't be pollutants and components that can't be broken down or recycled? How do we rethink things, redesign things to last? How do we reduce our use to ensure that we're not wasting? Reusing, repairing, refurbishing, that part of the economy is a really critical part of the demand side as we start to transition to circular economy in Australia. Remanufacturing, of course, is just going to be phenomenal. We've got the Made in Australia agenda, the modern manufacturing approach, which is made in Australia by Australia, which is from the Albanese government, which is going to be so important to back this new transition to a circular economy and to build that resilience and expertise here. We've also got the repurposing, recycling and recovery, all part of the circular economy, and the 10th is actually regulation if we add that in. So it's not just about looking at sort of the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff in terms of burning our waste or just, dealing with those organics in landfill and other things. We've also got to look up that hierarchy and think, how do we redesign the way we produce components? How do we redesign homes to extract value like this for toilet systems and other things? How can we start to create an economy that's going to keep these materials going round and round to extract value? And as I said, it's also about saying no to the things that we can't have in our economy. It's really exciting to have seen the communique from Environment Ministers led by Tanya Plibersek a couple of weeks ago, committing to circular economy for circular nerds like us. It was a big celebration. The 2030 target to work with the private sector to drive a circular economy is going to really catalyse action and change. And it's been well-needed leadership from the federal government. And this comes with a focus on building Australian-made, we're seeing catalysing lots of opportunities. One thing we know about the circular economy transition is no one organisation can make this transition on its own. We need to work collaboratively across government, business and research, and that's why we've set up Circular Australia. We were New South Wales Circular and now we've grown into Circular Australia to handfold and encourage the participation of different sectors to work together to drive outcomes, like the outcomes of this NiCE hub. So I'd like to, I'd like to say that we need researchers like Sean, Stefano and the other universities here today, with the leadership of UTS. We need their talented teams to solve these gritty problems, to transitioning from a linear to a circular economy and a circular future. So I commend your work, and I'm just thrilled that Circular Australia is involved, and we're happy to be a collaborative partner and support this project as much as we can. So thank you everybody for having us.
Thank you, Lisa, for the wonderful talk, and we look forward to working together in our hub to the Circular Australia. The next speaker, I'd like to invite Gary Liston from the OCP, Organic Crop Protect. They have been involved in our fertilizer application. He will share about what's about our fertilizer produced from urine. Please join me welcoming in his presentation.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I guess Yates, Dulux Group, we're on the consumption side of things, and yeah, we've been brought in, I guess, to give an understanding of with consumers the whole perception of using urine in a garden or in a food scenario. So yeah, it's a big challenge for us, but anyway, we're here for the challenge. I'd like to also begin to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Special guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour to be with you today to celebrate two important events, actually. To plan an opening of Nutrients in a Circular Economy to coincide with Use Less Stuff Day. Yes, it is a thing. It's a stroke of genius, so hats off to you guys. I've been involved in the organic farming and agricultural industry for about 30 years with the company I started, which is Organic Crop Protectants, over 30 years ago. No industry is more important, I guess, than the production of safe and nutrient-dense food. But as a result of the way we've approached the production and consumption of food in our society, no time has it been more challenging to put food where it needs to be at affordable prices while regenerating our farmland and fixing our climate. This really is the transformational challenge we face for our future prosperity. To meet this transformational challenge, we need to invest in the skills and the infrastructure needed to bring circularity into agriculture and horticulture. We also need to streamline the regulatory hurdles that businesses face when wanting to adopt a circular approach. Environmental, industry and food safety standards need to keep up with the rapidly changing area of big data in agriculture and the emerging circularity-based enterprises. For example, like insect proteins, which is an area that we're getting involved in a bit, and there's so many regulations associated with insect manure. You don't know that, people don't know how to define insect manure in government and food standards. It's just a bit crazy. COVID and the recent geopolitical unrest has taught us that building local supply chains in the area of energy and food is critical to sovereign security. Domestic sources of fertiliser are critical to reducing food inflation and potential food security issues. Recently, most of the conversations that I go to at national food summits and agricultural peak industry conferences is all about sustainability. Never like before, companies big and small are rushing to develop ESG policies based on UNESCO protocols. They're using whatever strategies they can to capture the hearts and minds of expanding health and sustainability-focused consumers. However, I believe the sustainable emperor has no clothes. Sustainable means to sustain, and if we maintain the status quo, we're still on a path to run out of our natural resources, cook and drown ourselves in climate change, and kill our soils and water resources. Through the Nutrients in a Circular Economy Hub, working out how to capture and divert valuable plant nutrients at a local level from our waterways and oceans into nutrient-dense food, consumed close to market, moves the sustainability dial to where we need it to be, which is in an endless circular motion. Like other corporations, Yates, Dulux Group, we've started on this sustainability journey. The Nutrients in a Circular Economy Hub provides an opportunity for Yates, Dulux Group to potentially replace some of the estimated 40,000 tonnes, for example, that goes into lawns and gardens every year with a more circular source of nutrients. However, the yuck factor of us using treated urine as a fertiliser needs to be better understood. And the same issue relates to phosphorus and struvite, for example. We will be working hard over the coming months and years to unlock the perceptions of the Australian producers and home gardeners, and hopefully transform our urine-based nutrients into a more user-friendly and change those perceptions within our communities. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for Gary for the very practical application of our unit fertilizer. Hope to have some research translation together with the OCP. So next speaker, we have the Southeast Water, Dr. Li Gao. Yeah, we are developing some caravan type of the mobile toilet to collect unit as well as processing inside caravans. So the Southeast was very much keen to working on this area. So UTS, we are the building level. We have world's largest unit collection with the 15th story. So we will develop the building level of the unit collection and processing. Also, we have a Brisbane law. So they want to work together with urban utility to work together with the Victoria Park, the public toilet. So they want to collect unit at the public toilet, and then apply to the Victoria Park as it is. So we have 3 different laws. So one of the very important, our note from the Southeast Quarter. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ligal from Southeast Quarter.
Good morning, all. My name is Li Gao from Southeast Water, and it is my great pleasure to be here to join this ARC NiCE Hub launch. I'm presenting on behalf of my colleague, Research Development Manager, David Bergman. He is unfortunately unable to join us today due to COVID reason. He sends his sincere apologies. Before I go any further, I also would like to acknowledge the traditional owner of the land on which we are meeting on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We have so much to learn from our first people and the country. They first learned to live, survive, and prosper. Southeast Water is one of Melbourne's metropolitan water retailers. We supply water, sewage, recycled water to approximately 1.9 million people. And for those who know us, our areas covers from inner city, Port Melbourne, to coastal Port C, and over to rural Pakenham. Every year, we produce more than 137 billion liters of drinking water, and we collect more than 108 billion liters of wastewater from our customers. From our water recycling plants, we produce more than 2,300 megaliter of recycled water used for homes, business, agricultural, and urban space. We also recycle biosolids for soil improvements, and we generate renewable energy from biogas and solars. To quote from the animated movie Shrek, circular economies are like onions. Yes, they might stink, they might make you cry, but mostly, it is because they have layers. We probably all agree that circular economies are complex. They always have overlap relationship and circularities within the circularities. So what is driving water utilities to get involved in this sticky area which could bring us to cry? Why would they move from otherwise a straightforward, simple water in, sewage out process to something complex with more partners, more pathways, and more interdependencies? As evidenced from Water Services Association Australia Transitioning with the Circular Economy paper, water utilities awareness is growing of their essential role they can play in circular economy. we have the water, nutrients, and other materials that are enablers and significant contributors to the circular economy in which they are located in, such as agricultural, manufacturing, landscaping, to name a few. We can no longer stand back in face of the pressures of the population growth, climate change, urbanization, and resource scarcity. The need for participation in circular economy is paramount. The benefits are actually extensive, from the lower cost and high revenues for water utilities through to the affordability, resilience, and security for our customers and the community, and to the wider environmental benefits, protecting our waterways, lowering our emission, and enhancing our soil. But water utilities are not always sure how, where, and with whom to start their circular economy journey. Water utilities are looking for partners such as NiCE Hub to be with us, to get us through the onions of the circular economy. For the NiCE Hub and its partners, as part of the pathway boosters as identified by the International Water Association, such as innovation boosters, proving and demonstrating what is possible, connecting boosters to help us to engage new partners and new technologies, which is beyond the traditional boundary. The leadership booster to provide science and facts to help us boldly influence our partners and the value chain. And boosters for the new business model, providing data to support new business cases and economic models. We have a lot to learn here with you and from you. It's a privilege to be part of the NiCE Hub. And I'm looking forward to unwrapping the onions of the circular economy with all of you. Thank you.
Next speaker, last but not least, Mr. Jeff Sewell from NiCE activities. So he will share about what's the construction or some of the opportunity we can work together with the NiCE and NiCE Hub. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Sewell.
Thank you, Sean, and good morning, everyone. Very pleased to be here today representing CIMIC and our CEO, Pedro Vicente, who would have been here, but for other engagements. Can I just add my acknowledgement, country, to that of Professor Sean, and also just acknowledge the distinguished guests here today. So why is CIMIC involved in research and involvement with UTS and ARC? Well, the operating companies that make up CIMIC are very heavily involved in all manner of infrastructure that goes on in Australia. And we feel we have a responsibility being involved in those projects to try to improve the knowledge of materials, processes, systems that go into the construction of those projects in an effort to do our part to reduce the amount of materials that go into them, to reuse the waste products that come out of them, and to generally reduce emissions. This will be the fourth ARC and university collaboration that we've been involved in over the last 4 years. It'll be the second one with UTS. We're very pleased to be involved again. And just to mention a little bit about what the CIMIC group is doing in some of those areas. Of course, we have United Group, UGL, who are heavily involved in solar projects, transmission line projects, water and wastewater projects across Australia. We have Pacific Partnerships who have recently bought it. In fact, through Pacific Partnerships, bought out our first solar farm as an entity, become a power provider. And I guess the main area that EIC is interested in is our collaboration with CPB contractors. Now, for those that don't know, CPB is the largest general civil contractor in Australasia and heavily involved across the nation in all manner of civil infrastructure projects. The research that we've been involved in, as I mentioned before, with the other ARC projects is all directly designed to try to improve the construction techniques that go into the projects that we're involved in. So we take some responsibility for, as I said, reducing waste and improving outcomes. This particular one, it's not related to fertiliser. It's related to something completely different, but still important and still, very much an opportunity to do something different in an area which is particularly important to emissions, and that's the reduction of cement and limestone that goes into the construction industry. Again, cement production, I think, ranks at about number 7 in the world in terms of its emissions intensity. So anything that we can do to try to reduce that is great. All of our research happens through EIC activities. We are the technical group within CIMIC. Our engineers and technical staff are involved in these research projects, and we see that as an opportunity to bring the practical knowledge that we have being involved in industry to combine it with the research that goes on in the universities. As I said, our second project with UTS, with Bezard and Hardy, we just finished a project involved with looking at opportunities to build infrastructure over landfill, and that has resulted in some really good research, and more importantly for one of our young engineers, his PhD study, and I think that's about to be awarded, if not already being awarded. So Michael Viner is one of our young geotechnical engineers. We're very proud of his work. It's really been quite an effort on his part. He's worked pretty much full time for us for 4 years while completing his PhD, and I can tell you we didn't let him have any free time from his normal duties. So we'll have to start calling him Dr. Michael around the office now, and that work was with Bezard and Hardy, as I said. And this next research project is looking, as I said, to try to look for opportunities to reduce cement in industry, and in this case, in various parts of Australia, we build civil infrastructure with highly reactive clays, and the way you stabilise those clays, it's fairly crude. You just mix it up with cement and lime, and it turns it into something a lot more benign. CPB contractors, along with our joint venture partner, have been undertaking the earthworks project for the new Western Sydney Airport here in Sydney, and that was one of the major challenges, is to try to make sure that we're not throwing away material that typically we wouldn't use because of its reactivity, and improve it. And this next research project will look at a slightly novel way of finding another product which might reduce that reactivity rather than just using cement. So just in closing, very pleased to be involved again with UTS, and we look forward to another few years and potentially some more projects after that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to thank you all the speakers. I hope you enjoyed the very much inspiring and motivating speech from them. Also, now it's time to have a official launch. So before that, I just want to introduce our gift, what is inside. So if you open your gift bag, you will see the one box. So one is our UPS produced fertilizer, which is NiCE. This is very diluted and we make it all the safety and risk management. So it's very safe. So you can see the inside, there is the toilet. And then you can see the flag. So we have prepared a kettle inside toilet. So you can test your fertilizer to this from UPS. Then you can give just one cap every month. This is kettle, so you don't have to provide a lot of watering. So just to provide one cap or two cap per month. So whenever you think about the NiCE hub, so just to give water to us. So if you have any problem for this plant or fertilizer, so during our AIC hub project time, we are happy to keep supporting you. So please let us know. We will provide a different kind of fertilizer. So you can test and please let us know the feedback. So that will be great, appreciate. But so we have another the box. This is the NiCE of a mobile phone wireless charger. So you can put your mobile phone on your computer and the NiCE. So you will have a lot of luck for your research as well as your lifetime. So we want the best wish for your own life. So we prepared this wireless mobile phone charger. And just one more tip. So as soon as you arrive at your office or at home, so please remove this one because they need airflow, the fresh airflow. They give a first fertilizer. So that's the first thing so you have to do when you go back to your home or office because they need to breathe. So please go ahead. Now it's time to have an official launch. I'd like to welcome back our Senator, the Honorable Anthony Chido. So he will cut our NiCE cake. Also, Kate McGraw and then Dr. Mary Kelly. So please come together and we can have something for this cake. I have to invite our CIPI and have a group photo together. Please join us and have a group photo. Everyone else take a point?
Punch up this will be better than this. You know what, we've made all that effort, we might as well. It's like a portable studio. Guys, a few more hands. More nice smile, we should turn around. Last one. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll eat something and then I'll, but it'll be good to drink. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna send
Much ready.
So it's time to have a lunch here. I'd like to thank you, everybody, for your time and for your sharing your knowledge and the experience for everybody. And I'd like to have a special thanks to our volunteers. We can see the black teachers, so they have to prepare all the souvenirs for the guests today. So let's give a big hands to them. And so we have Imran, the home manager. So he's one of the person he dedicated in support. So thank you, Imran. And then time to have a lunch together, and then we can go to the foyer. Then enjoy your lunch and then keep talking together each other. Thank you very much.